So, one of the things I'm concluding is I think Trump was part of the operation. I don't just think he was a friend of Jeffrey. It looks to me more and more like he was an integral part of the operation. And if Trump was, then likely Lutnick was as well, not just somebody who lived next door and helped him launder money. So, this administration is the Epstein network. It is the Epstein network taking control of the US government and ejecting its booster rocket. So by shutting down Jeffrey Epstein's operation, whether he's still alive or not, it doesn't matter. They're simply ejecting the booster rocket and moving up. The reason the Department of Justice can't prosecute the Epstein network is because the Epstein network is running the government, Donald Trump, the Department of Justice. They are the Epstein network.
Finally, you have systems of cameras and drones to track license plates and to track other movements from the sky. And so what's interesting is for years I've been talking or warning about the digital control grid going in, and most people didn't see it. But suddenly now with the drones and the cameras and the telecom, suddenly people locally are beginning to realize, wait a minute, we as taxpayers are funding the building of this prison, and we can see it with our own eyes. It's become physical. And so you have enormous pushback. And okay, so we have the digital ID, we have the surveillance, and part of that surveillance system allows you to do coercion. So if you need to do a false flag, if you need to do a school shooting, if you need to do an assassination, it's that surveillance and tracking that really helps you engineer that. And then, of course, the coup de grace is over here on the right, programmable digital money. Europe is much more focused on doing central bank digital currency. The United States just passed the Genius Act and is working on the Clarity Act to do asset tokenization, but they have it set up where they've reserved the right. They just took legislative steps to preserve the central bank's ability to do a central bank digital currency, but they want to have a programmable money feature with private stable coins and crypto. And of course, the crypto comes with a distributive ledger, which is part of creating the database system you need to do programmable money. So a little bit different in Europe. Europe is much more focused on the ECB doing CBDC, and the United States now sort of holding out the options to do both private currency that's programmable money or CBDC. So, but either way, the fourth gate on the corral locks in when not only can I control your spatial movements with this kind of surveillance and tracking, but I can turn your money on and off. And I can turn your money on and off in very granular ways. So if you're good, I can give you a little bit more money. If I'm bad, I can take out your money or implement your taxes. And if you look at the system in combination, what it essentially does is it takes control of fiscal policy out of the hands of the legislature and the executive branch and gets it to the bankers.
You think that massive armada heading toward Iran is about human rights or stopping a nuclear program? Stop. You're looking at the wrong map. To understand the Middle East, you have to look at Venezuela. The U.S. just secured the biggest win in energy history, 303 billion barrels of reserves. But there's a catch nobody talks about. Venezuelan oil is extra heavy. It's basically sludge. It's so thick, you can't even push it through a pipeline without thinning it out first. And here's the kicker. U.S. refineries were built for this heavy oil, but right now we're drowning in light shale oil that we can't use efficiently. We need that Venezuelan crude. But to move that sludge, you need a blending agent. You need light crude. And guess who has the exact chemical composition required to unlock Venezuela? Iran. For years, Iran has been the secret key, shipping light oil to Venezuela to keep their industry alive. The strategy isn't freedom, it's chemistry. Trump secured the heavy crude. Now the armada is there to secure the light crude. It's not a war for morality, it's about completing the energy equation. So tell me, is this a masterclass in business strategy or just dangerous greed?
With PCR, we can declare you a carrier of any possible virus. Any possible virus on the planet, existing now, imaginary, non-imaginary, the one we just drew in a cartoon, we can diagnose you with that virus with the PCR. And then depends on how, and also the US law is set out such a way that certain viruses are actually written into law as quarantinable. And quarantinable means the government can violate your constitutional rights and imprison you without due cause. And this is why they build those centers in the Marketplace Mall, by the way.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that. Go ahead. So the detention centers.
There are several viruses, including influenza and COVID and a few others, that are written into the US law that gives CDC and the military unlimited power to detain you, take you off a cruise ship, just like they did with those Grand Princess and the other international princess. I forget those two.
Diamond Princess.
Yeah. And send you to the military base where you will be treated against your will and killed there, and then declared you dead from COVID or disease X or whatever next virus we're going to have on the menu. And so that's why these are not just to harvest people's bodies. That's a given. Yeah, they've been doing that for ages. Now this is also designed to imprison anyone by declaring them a carrier of a emergency threat virus, and so imprison any dissident, anybody the state wants to get rid of. Is a perfectly easy way to do.
Unbelievable.
And also broadly establish control measures. So if they want to roll out CBDC, programmable money, this is a way to do it, by tying it to your health records. They're already tying everything to the health records. They're already centrally collecting all the health data through the electronic medical records, which, technically the practice of medicine, including these electronic medical records, is supposed to be a purview of the state regulation, not federal regulation. But we have blown past that a long time ago. And now all these records, health records, are being centrally sucked into federal databases, which are then turned over to Palantir to target you, to the Samad, to AI, to set up some AI to surveil you. So now they can force you, especially with people with children, they can threaten them. And you've been participating in those cases many times, where they can threaten the parent if they deny some sort of a health intervention. And and parents will comply just because they're afraid for their children. But guess what? They can also test your child for some novel virus, find it, and then you become it. Then you become the Sentinel case. Then you become that case that they need to demonstrate there is a pandemic, lock down the whole community, do whatever they wish there. It becomes an unlimited scenario for a totalitarian dystopia.
I want to address the fake news jabbering about AIPAC saying that the tribe is controlling the U.S. Look, we might run the banks, the media, Hollywood, politics, Congress, maybe even had Epstein on speed dial, who knows? But other influence? Nah, pure nonsense. And by the way, I'm sending another $6 gazillion to Israel